It was so unfamiliar to them that they couldn't help but to project their own limitations onto what they thought I was capable of. But it didn't matter. Okay, it really didn't matter because I still accomplished all those things because I didn't doubt myself and I maintained my own confidence in what I was capable of. I continued to see myself through the eyes of Allah. I didn't care what they had to say. And welcome back to Aim Higher with Mamayan. I'm your host Mamayan, and thank you guys so much for being here today. We are actually getting a video on time this week. Can we get a round of applause? Can we get a round of applause? This video is on time. It is Sunday and this video is uploaded. I'm speaking it into existence right now. That's what I'm doing. But anyways, today we are actually going to be discussing confidence, okay? And there's a whole lot to unpack about this topic, more than we actually realize. And I want to start by giving you guys a background as to why confidence is such a powerful thing, why our self-concept is so powerful to begin with. Okay, so lately I've been reading this book. It's called Of Water and Spirit, okay, and it was written by Malidoma Patrice Somé, and he is from Burkina Faso and West Africa, and it is a book about ritual magic, initiation, and the life of an African shaman. Don't let that title scare you. I know what the immediate thoughts are when I mention anything about African rituals, African magic. Immediately it's considered demonic, immediately it's considered something negative, something not of God, but that is not what this is about. I really encourage you guys to give this book a chance and learn something about this culture that you might just not understand or have been taught false narratives about. It's kind of ironic that when these societies were first conquered, they were told that their practices and traditions were demonic and terrible and forced to accumulate to Western society. And now it's kind of like Western society is reverting back to those old ways and realizing the power of a lot of these traditions, but now claiming it as their own. It's kind of ridiculous to me. So if you are somebody who is very into spirituality and you watch all these videos on manifestation, spirituality, and the power of prayer and God and all this and that, if that's something that you're into, I encourage you to go back to the root and learn about the teachings of indigenous practices and cultures, because that's where it really came from to start out with. And I know you're like, what does this have to do with confidence? Like, can we get to the point? But I'm going to explain, because a lot of the concepts that I want to talk about today, I was taught within just the first 50 pages of this book. You guys, have only read like 50 pages. I don't even think I read a full 50 pages yet. Let me actually check. What? Oh no, that can't be right. I was like, I opened to page 20 and I was like, no, it's not 20 pages. No, 51. I've read exactly 51 pages of this book and already I have gathered so much information. What I want to start out with is one of the stories that I read in the book. And the story that he was talking about was the story of his grandfather's death. I promise you this is going to connect. Okay, so in the story, he talked about how his grandfather died in a hospital. They witnessed him die in the hospital, and then after he died, he got up and he walked 4 miles back to his house to fully rest in his home. I know that sounds like such a crazy concept, like that can't be real, that could not have possibly happened, but it did. The thing is, every culture has its own reality, okay? And these realities are formed based off of values, traditions, and beliefs. The same way an individual can manifest things in their life, a collective manifests a truth, okay? And so the collective of which he grew up in has agreed upon this truth of dead people being able to walk, right? And other different things that we might have never thought possible in the culture and society that we come from, right? And this is what he was talking about. Every different culture, every different society lives a different truth and lives a different reality, okay? Reality is based upon what the collective has agreed upon, okay? And this is based off of a system of beliefs, traditions, and values, okay? So a collective that agrees upon a singular truth will experience experience exactly that. Now, the reason why this story might sound crazy to us is because dead people being able to walk is not a truth that our culture and society has agreed upon, okay? But for him, for the author, within his community, a small little community within the totality of the world, this is something that they agree has the possibility of existing. And so their experiences are going to be very different and sound very abstract to our world. I too, when reading this, I was like, what? Like, did that really happen? There has to be a psychological explanation. But I started to realize, you guys, we do not know everything. Okay. And if we believe in the power of manifestation so much, we need to understand that this is something that we do as a collective as well. There is no singular truth. Okay, truth is subjective. That is my belief. With that being said, the people that we see who are living healthier, happier, and more fruitful lives have simply agreed upon a higher truth for their existence. Like I said, this is something that we can experience through a collective. I'm explaining it through the collective because that is where I first grasped this idea from this story. I promise you guys it's going to connect. When I read the story and I finally understood that the collective had agreed upon this truth, and so that's why they experienced it, I started to realize the ways in which all of the collectives that we are born into, that we exist within, form and shape different perspectives of who we are and different perspectives of our reality. Imagine for a second if we all internalized a higher truth, if we all agreed upon a higher truth. Imagine how much joy there would be in the world, how much love and how much understanding, and how fruitful our lives would be if we simply just agreed upon a higher truth. Okay, now this obviously starts with the individual. Before we can bring it to families, before we can bring it to friendships, before we can bring it to cultures, races, countries, the world, it starts with the individual. And it starts with confidence. Okay, because confidence at the end of the day, you guys, is manifestation. Confidence is faith. It is an unmovable force that blocks out any sliver of doubt and fear. The problem we have in our society is not about achieving confidence. That's something that we can do easily at this point. We've figured out how to feel confident. The problem that we really have is with maintaining that confidence, right? Maintaining that higher frequency. Like I said, because the collective that we're living in, especially in Western society, is on a lower vibration than what we are actually striving to achieve. And so therefore, you're going to be posed with a lot more challenges and a lot more instances where you are faced with other people projecting fears and doubts, not of their own doing, but just because that's what's been programmed into them. That is the truth and the reality that they have been born into, and the only thing that they know is the only thing that is familiar to them. So how do we maintain a higher frequency? How do we maintain this confidence that we are capable of doing whatever we want to do? We are capable of achieving whatever we want, and that we are worthy of the things that we desire in our lives. How do we maintain this? I have a few strategies that I want to bring to you guys today. One of those being is start seeing yourself through the eyes of Allah. Okay, and by the way, you guys, even though I am speaking through the context of Islam, I want you guys to know that language is simply a barrier. It is impermanent and it holds no truth in what really exists. Okay, what is true is what we feel. Okay, at the end of the day, our language, our words is temporary. Anything that is temporary is not truth. Okay, it constantly changes. And so we cannot continue to hold these barriers of language when referring to God, when referring to Allah, when referring to the universe, the Almighty, the Creator, whatever it might be. So I offer you to drop the language barrier as I speak about this and translate this to the identity that makes sense for you. Anyways, see yourself through the eyes of Allah. That is my first strategy for you guys today. And what I mean by this is, well, first we have to understand, what is your concept of God? What is your concept of the universe, of the Creator? Okay, and is it somebody that is a dictator, or is it somebody that has love, compassion, understanding, but also balance? That is how I see my Creator. Okay, a creator of balance, of equilibrium, of understanding, compassion, right? And I know that my Creator does not look at me in any negative, shameful, terrible way. So I'm not going to look at myself that way. My Creator does not see me as somebody who can't accomplish things. He knows He knows what I'm capable of. He knows the magnitude of my power and my light. And so I will only see myself through those eyes. When somebody else is projecting their fears and doubts over who you are and projecting their wrong truth over who you are, remember to see yourself through the eyes of Allah and be like, well, God sees me this way, so I don't care how this person sees me. I'm going to see myself the way God does at the end of the day, always. That is the number one strategy when it comes to maintaining your confidence. Because at the end of the day, you know that whenever somebody is trying to belittle you, that is not coming from the source that you draw your energy from. That is not coming from the source of which your confidence exists, of which you exist. So why would you listen to it? Okay, seeing yourself in this light is also what's going to help you accept a higher truth for yourself. Okay, like I was saying, you guys, a major reason as to why we don't evolve and we don't accomplish the things that we want to is because it's not a reality that we have accepted for ourselves yet. We don't see it as a truth for ourselves, right? Like when I go in stores, for example, sometimes I'll just go shopping in like expensive stores and I won't buy anything because maybe I just won't have the money right there in that moment to buy anything, but I won't act like I don't. I will act as if I'm a regular shopper who could afford anything in the store. And when I ask, oh, how much does this cost? And the lady says, oh, that's like $1,000, whatever. I go, oh, okay, not bad. And I continue. I was there and I remember I was shopping with a friend one time and we were shopping and I was like, oh, how much are these glasses or something? And they're like 500 something. And my friend, she was like, and I was like, okay. And we left and she was like, my God, like you were so calm about that price. I'm like, I can't act like I don't have it. Like I can't live as if that's not a reality that I could perceive for myself. One day I will be able to afford these glasses. And so I'm not shocked. I'm not going to act like, oh my God, yikes. That's a truth that I could never live in, right? I'm going to act like, yeah, that could be a reality for me. Cool. Okay. And so when we're seeing ourselves through God's eyes or through the eyes of Allah, right, we are seeing that anything is possible for us. We're seeing that we are worthy of creating anything. We are worthy of living any life, okay? And I'm not going to see myself as anything smaller than that, okay? Because our capacity is so much bigger than what we know. And we have to see it that way. We have to see ourselves that way. We have to live that way. Okay, if you are trying to evolve to a higher truth, you have to accept it for yourself. You can't let anybody else try to change your mind on what that truth might be. And you have to continue to see yourself as this higher being who is worthy of these things, right? And who is worthy of this life. Seeing yourself through the eyes of Allah also means having patience for yourself, okay? It stems from having compassion and grace for who you are, okay? Because the Almighty has grace and passion for you, okay? So have patience with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. It's okay if you slip up, if you lose confidence, if you start to doubt yourself at times, all right? Have that compassion and grace for yourself. You do not have to be perfect. In this society, we put way too many conditions on ourselves on whether or not we're going to be worthy of something. And this is a society that really believes that you have to struggle in order to earn basic things in your life, in order to earn joy. And in order to earn joy, literally, it's like I'll be happy and it's like next thing you know, people are like, okay, well, what are you doing about this bill and that bill and that bill? I'm like, damn, can I just be happy and broke? No, you can't. I'm just kidding. But seriously, it's like you are expected to struggle before you have joy. And it's like when people see you happy, they immediately want to remind you of all the things that you should be worrying about. If you're not worried, if you're not stressed, people almost think that you don't care. But that's not true. It's just the reality is I love myself and I know that I deserve to be happy and enjoy my life regardless of anything. And we do work hard in all different ways. It's not always about the physical, okay? Sometimes we are doing things spiritually, we are doing things mentally that it takes a lot of work. Being here in itself and going through this journey is hard, and we deserve to enjoy our lives and we deserve joy. My next tip that I want to give you guys is don't let somebody else's energy disrupt yours. Now this kind of just follows along with what I was saying, but it's not your responsibility how somebody else sees you. Okay, and this is going to help us to maintain our confidence, because a lot of the time the reason why our confidence decreases, like I said, it has to do with the energy of the collective and what the collective perceives as possible. If I told the people that I was surrounded by, let's just say 5 years ago, what my plans were and what I wanted to do with my life, they would laugh in my face. In fact, they did laugh in my face, right? Moving across the country, starting a modeling career, starting a channel, starting your own business, living as an artist, being an artist. It was so unfamiliar to them that they couldn't help but to project their own limitations onto what they thought I was capable of. But it didn't matter. Okay, it really didn't matter, because I still accomplished all those things, because I didn't doubt myself and I maintained my own confidence in what I was capable of. I continued to see myself through the eyes of Allah. I didn't care what they had to say. And this is also why it's so important to surround yourself by like-minded individuals. What we realize, you guys, is that sometimes the people who think the most like us look and exist and act nothing like us, okay? We assume that friendship has to be based on similarities, physical similarities oftentimes, but that's not really how you find your soul tribe, okay? One of the concepts that this book also talks about, which is very, very common in indigenous cultures, but foreign to us in Western culture, is the importance of communicating with our elders and with children, okay? And this book talks about age in a very interesting way, and I think that this will kind of provide a lot of insight to the types of people that you want to surround yourself by on this journey, okay, or the types of spiritual guides that you want in your life. You see, we have this idea that age is a linear thing, and that this linear prediction of age is what determines wisdom. Okay, you start out young, and as you grow older and older and older, you get wiser and wiser and wiser. But in reality, age works more like a circle, okay? Birth and death are both closely linked, and they come from the same place, right? When you are a child, you are closer to that other side, that other existence, than you are when you're an adult. And same thing with being an old person. You're closer to that other side, that other existence. So the old person and the child are actually closer to having the same mind. And I mean, this is kind of obvious. We see this all the time. And what this just reminds me of is that we are born knowing who we are. We lose ourselves, and then we find ourselves again. And I think that's the purpose of life, is to understand who we are, is to perceive ourselves, okay? And you have to perceive what you are not in order to understand what you are, and that's the point, okay? So sometimes the people who are really guiding you spiritually come from unexpected places, and that is what I'm trying to tell you guys, okay? So don't just assume that somebody has to be, you know, your age, dressed in all these crystals and beads or whatever, looking a certain way, putting on a certain presentation in order to carry wisdom. Sometimes it's your 5-year-old cousin who just says the most random thing, and it's actually complete truth, and you needed to hear it. You needed to be reminded of the simplicity. And other times it is your elders, which I think we should have more respect for in our Western society, but we don't. So I really think we need to work on that, and that's the reason why we're so misguided. But the reason why we're so misguided, because we actually think that when we are at the youngest point in our lives, right? When I say this, I'm talking about youngest spiritually, as in being the furthest from ourselves. We think that these are the people who carry the most wisdom, but they are the most lost from who they are. It's not their fault. It's just part of the journey. Okay? So remember that wisdom comes from all different types of places, and don't be surprised if it's an unexpected area in which you find guidance. But back to my overall point about not letting other people's energy affect yours, okay? Just because somebody else has a perception of your truth does not mean that you have to absorb that. You maintain your own energy. Other people's reactions to you and perceptions of you are not your responsibility at the end of the day. Obviously, sometimes the people who are close to us, who really care about us and really support us, might see things and have observations that we might have missed. And it's okay to, take this with a grain of salt, really evaluate it. It's okay to always accept that maybe you are doing things wrong, or maybe you're doing things in a way that's not always well received by other people, and it's okay to adapt. I'm not saying that people can't ever tell you about yourself. You should be able to hear about yourself from time to time. But I'm just saying, if somebody is literally just trying to limit you, or doubting you, or placing fear on you, or making you feel small about yourself, you do not need to listen to that. That's just ridiculous because you know better, okay? And it's not your responsibility if that's how they feel. At the end of the day, it's a projection of how they feel within themselves. Everybody is just reflecting what they feel internally at the end of the day. The last tip I want to give you guys when it comes to confidence is about the way that you carry yourselves, okay? Carry yourself with a sense of honor and grace in who you are. And I actually want to touch a little bit on hijab. In the Islam tradition, okay, women are supposed to wear headscarves and cover themselves. I was raised Muslim, but I also went to Catholic school, and I have family members of all different faiths. And so I was never really pushed towards one direction. And even though now I do feel a closer link towards Islam, I am not at that step in my journey to wear hijab or anything. So that's why you guys don't see me wearing it, even though I am Muslim and I do talk about the faith a lot. That is the reason. Everybody's journey is going to be different no matter what religion you are. Don't go ahead and impose what you think somebody is doing right or wrong on them. Because at the end of the day, like I said, someone could present themselves a certain way and be doing crazy stuff behind closed doors. We never know. So everyone's journey is going to be different. But for a while, I was contemplating like this idea of hijab and everything. And I was like, oh, is it bad that I'm not wearing it? Am I not carrying myself with honor? Whatever. But I started to realize that hijab is actually more than just clothing. Okay, it does consist of the clothing, and there's reasons to that, which I could go deeper into in a separate video if you guys want. But it goes deeper than just the clothing. It is a presence. It's how you carry yourself as an individual. It's carrying yourself with respect. Okay, and this is a big key when it comes to confidence. Carry yourself like someone who knows who the fuck she is, or he is, or they are. Carry yourself like you know who you are. Stop acting like you don't know who you are. Stop slouching. Stop walking with your struggle. Yes, we all have struggle. One thing that happens all the time is I think people will look at me and make assumptions about what I've gone through and experienced in life and what they think that I am as a person or who they think I am. Typically, these assumptions are like the furthest from the truth possible, but they're only seeing one layer of me. They're only seeing one layer of you. Okay? Remember that people can only see you as deeply as they've seen themselves. And so if they don't see themselves that deeply, and you see yourself on a deeper level, you're not going to feel seen by these people. Okay? So just remember that. And for me, it's like, I think the reason why a lot of us think that we have to carry our struggles is because we want people to actually understand, like, no, I have been through this. I have worked hard. I want you to know that I haven't gotten everything easily. It has been hard work, whatever. And I used to kind of think that this was how I had to carry myself. Or I used to think that because I wasn't at my end destination yet, I couldn't act like it. I couldn't act happy. I couldn't, I couldn't dress up. I have nowhere to go. Why would I dress up? That was kind of like my perception for a brief minute there. But it's like, no, you do not have to look like what you're going through. You can start looking like what you want to be your reality. Start looking like the truth that you are trying to manifest in your life. Start looking like your new truth. Accept a new truth for yourself. Just because you experience something else doesn't mean you need to continue living in that painful reality of who you are. You don't have to forget it. You don't have to be ashamed of it, but you don't have to carry it. Okay? I stand up straight when I'm walking around. Okay? I carry myself highly. I dress up, even if I'm just going to the grocery store, even if I'm just sitting around the house. Okay? Because I'm accepting that truth for myself, that I am a person of value and that I am worthy of feeling good about myself. Even like when we're looking at like celebrities or people that we admire, for example, I was just watching like Summer Walker's radio show with her and Kelly Rowland, and I was like, wow, I really admire these women. I wish I could be like them. And I just kind of stopped myself and I was like, well, what is the difference between me and these people? It's just a matter of my own perceived power. It's just a matter of my own self-concept. That's it. That's the only thing that is standing in the way of you and the person you want to become. It's how you view yourself. It's your ability or inability to maintain confidence. Okay? So let's try some of these strategies, you guys, moving forward. Let's try to see ourselves through God's eyes. Let's try to surround ourselves by like-minded people, by people who can offer us real wisdom, and make sure that you're maintaining your own energy and not absorbing other people's narratives about you. And of course, carrying yourself with respect. Okay, sit up straight. You know what I mean? Like, the amount of times I've had to tell my friends, if you see me slouching, yell at me, because the body is just a physical reaction to what's going on internally at the end of the day. So when you're caught slouching or covering a part of yourself, pay attention to what chakra this is aligned with, because something is going on internally. Every physical illness or expression is a result of something going on internally. Every single one, yes. And no, I'm not trying to say that you create all your sicknesses, this and that, because sometimes it does have to do with the environment you're in and what poisons are just kind of being thrown at you without your will, right? But this is why we have to do so much of this work, you guys. And this is why I do make these videos, and it might seem tedious and extra, but ultimately this is what is going to get me the life of my dreams. This is what has already gotten me the life of my dreams. You know, I feel like people will look and be like, why her? Why does she get to be happy? Why does she get to live this way? Why does she get these creative ideas? Because I decided for myself. And I decided to do the work. And you can do it too. It could be you too. It's not just her, it's not just me, it's not just him, it's all of us, if we actually decide to accept that truth. If you guys like this video and you want to see more videos on this topic or similar topics, please let me know in the comments below. And I'm just so thankful for whoever showed up today, whoever's supporting, and I really hope that this impacted at least one person. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you guys next time.